Tommy Broughan.
Well, as you know, Minister, the
Deputy Broughan, without interruption.
Yeah, as you know, the Road Safety Authority, whose director I think was in the House this morning, took over responsibility for driving licence in 2013, administered through the National Driver Licence Service. But figures they released in 2015, of course, showed 96% of drivers disqualified in court didn't surrender their licences. Other recent figures released, I think, by the RSA to the Irish Times showed that almost 8,000 drivers who have multiple concurrent disqualifications on their licences continue to flout the law by driving. Now, I've asked you this question before. As you know, Minister, it was subject of an amendment that I tried to move at the recent road traffic bill, that obviously the IT systems of the courts, the RSA and the Gardaí needed to be very closely aligned so that we don't seem to have this huge lacuna in information on driving licences, especially for An Garda Síochána. Thanks, Can.
I'd like to thank Deputy Broughan for his question. It's a very important question, and it's an issue which certainly has got to be addressed. The fact that information is not coordinated, is not sufficient, does, I think, affect road safety adversely. And as you know, there's a master licence plan coming in, which I think will certainly assist the fight against road deaths. The Road Safety Authority, as licensing authority, is responsible for the National Driving Licence Service, NDLS, which commenced operation on the 29th of October 2013. 556,439 driving licence applications were received in 2016. The NDLS is an umbrella entity encompassing 3 independent contractors delivering distinct services, resulting in the production of the plastic card licence. These are a front office, a back office and a card producer. The fact there are 3 separate entities adds to the complexity of the service, and handover issues among the 3 can lead to challenges in managing those contracts. These challenges were managed in 2016, where there is now a more streamlined approach between the 3 separate entities. The penalty point system for driving offences was introduced in Ireland on 31st of October 2002. Penalty point offences are recorded on a driving licence record if the individual is convicted of a driving offence that attracts penalty points, or the individual is served with a fixed charge notice for an alleged offence that attracts penalty points, and the driver can opt to pay the fine rather than having the matter referred to the courts. Penalty points are endorsed on a driver record by my department's National Vehicle Driver File, which is the record of fact for driving licences on direction of a Garda Síochána of the courts. On receipt of notification from An Post or from the court service, the appropriate points are recorded on the driving licence record. Since the introduction of the penalty point system, there were 2 primary reasons why penalty points cannot be applied. The penalty point offence record received from the Garda Court Service did not include a valid driver number, or the offenders were the holders of foreign driving licences.
The balance will be in the official report. Deputy Broughan.
Well, I mean, Minister, clearly this continues to be a massive problem. Obviously, road safety organisations like the Outstanding Park organisation bring it to my attention continuously that they believe the Garda Pulse system is outdated, and that's due to the fact there could be several recorded dates of births for a person and different addresses. And unlike the PSNI, that we don't have roadside handheld devices. I also asked you for the process whereby the RSA and the An Garda Síochána work together to establish the validity of a driving licence number and the number of inquiries received by the RSA. And I noticed the information you sent me back said that there had been, from the Garda inquiries to the RSA, had been just 1,268 in 2014, 1,425 in 2015, and 1,712 in 2016 and January 2017. These, as you know, Minister, seem to be very low numbers. Considering for example, the speeding cases before the courts around the country in the period from January 2015 to October 2016 showed 14,572 convictions, but just 6,165 had their licence recorded. So there is a huge lacuna, Minister. I noticed this morning to the committee you said you're going to bring in 3 or 4 new pieces of legislation. I mean, why don't you address this issue once and for all? We could have done it in the road traffic bill. We didn't, but I'm urging you now to take action. We need to have a very clear stream of information. Thanks, Last Can.
Minister, 1 minute.
We do intend to address this issue in legislation this year. It is my ambition. I probably won't be around for it, but it's my ambition that we'll have a master licence record of a very sophisticated nature. Maybe not this year, where information will be available, checkable, on one record, on one particular computer, which will include vehicles, drivers, licences, insurance, tax, NCTs, any of those things, so that they can talk to each other immediately. And I think the Deputy knows one of the problems here at the moment is even the vehicle and driver element aren't talking to each other. They're not communicating with each other, which obviously makes detection very, very difficult for the Gardaí. And I see no reason why this somewhat antediluvian system which are running at the moment, which obstructs the detection and prevention of accidents and fatalities, should not be all amalgamated into one file.
Thank you.
And that's my ambition to do that. And I think the Deputy would share that.
Final.
Comments on the fact that you did indeed bring forward the road traffic bill, and the fact that we're discussing the courts bill, the Section 44 issue in the House at the moment. But I mean, there is a huge deficit of information here. I mean, I've asked the Road Safety Authority in relation to the information on, when drivers had informed them of a change of address or other change of details to their 10-year driving licence, and I'm still waiting for that. But in the UK, of course, in the legislation, there's a fine of up to £1,000 for failing to inform the DVLA driving licence agency of a change of address. So quite clearly there is, there is major things that you could do by legislation, by statutory instrument to progress this. And I would hope the Road Safety Authority, I've asked many times if whether they have successfully undertaken a matching exercise to match a conviction with a specific driving licence, whereby the licence number was not recorded in court or conviction, and that's information that I'm also waiting for the last number of months. So again, Minister, it's a critically important area if we're to make an impact on the horrendous figures last year where 188 people died.
In accordance with standing orders, a short supplementary from Deputy Wallace.
No, I just wanted to commend the Minister for refusing to make promises, given that the government probably not going to last very long anyway, especially in light of the fact that they're probably the loss of a second Garda Commissioner is pretty imminent, so fair play to the Minister. Credit where it's due.
Minister, I don't know if you have to respond to that.
Go on, do.
I don't know how to respond to that, but I'm not sure that's a road traffic question, but nevertheless, any compliment from the Deputy is most welcome.
Your last response invited that question.
But thank you. Deputy Broughan, yeah, there are an awful lot of holes that need to be plugged. I mean, it's quite staggering how the records on insurance and who's insured and who's not insured are they're pretty well a shambles at the moment. People are under a system which was abandoned in 2014, I'm sure you're aware of that. People were coming up as the NPR system, as uninsured, when they'd actually just changed insurance companies. And that may be one of the reasons why we've got such a huge estimate for the number of uninsured people in the country. Maybe it's correct, but the numbers were coming up as 150,000 at one stage. And that may be a result of the fact that the collection of information is so flawed. And I think it's very important, and the changes of addresses to which you referred, and the fact that they don't know where people live in certain circumstances is something which could be addressed, and I think that we are going to address it with a great deal of urgency, not just in legislation, but also with encouraging the various state agencies to do this. Thank you.